this assignment about is actually the PSI in different regions. So what is PSI actually? Is actually pollutant standard index. And then we have different areas, which is north, south, east, west, and also central. So what I have to do from here for question 1 is actually to find the average using the feature equal average, and then I'll find for each section. So after doing that, okay, the answer I got is this one. So what I can infer from this table is actually East has the lowest PSI. So what do they mean by they have the lowest PSI is they have better quality than the others. What's the reason why I use average is for me to observe which continent has the lowest PSI, thus finding the best air quality. So I didn't find the standard deviation because that only measures the consistency of the PSI instead. As for part 2 of the question, what I have to do is to find the maximum PSI daily. So what I did is a pivot table for different days. So I did like make it 12 a.m. Okay, I use this formula if, and then is this, and then this is to find the maximum for that day. After doing that, what I have to do is actually to show it using 2D line chart. So this is how it looked like. So as you can see from the graph, at around June, the flow actually went up and went down drastically. But right after June, the flow is consistent in between. Therefore, generally the graph is consistent. Yeah, the graph is actually consistent. As you can see, it's all below 50. Okay, so moving on to question 2. I'm supposed to find the average PSI reading for the 5 months. So what I did was finding the average, which we did in question 1, and then however we are supposed to find the confidence interval. Before finding the confidence interval and the mean, I need to find the average for each day. So the average for each day is here, and then the maximum is there. After that, moving on to the confidence interval formula, all I have to find is the mean, standard deviation, sample size, confidence coefficient, sampling error, upper bound, and also the lower bound. Oh, lastly, standard error. So once I found out already, the upper bound and lower bound depicts the confidence interval is that is needed in question 2. As for part 2 of the question, I am supposed to find the number of days where PSI in Singapore exceeded reading of 30 for months of July and August, and then September and October. So firstly, we have to find the number of days, which is July and August is 62, for September and October is 61. And then we have to find total number of days PSI which exceed 30, and then same goes to September and October. And then what I did was actually using the feature of conditional formatting and the filtering, as in this table. So now that I have all of this, for part 3 of the question is what I did was to use the hypothesis testing, which tests statistics for 2 proportion, and then using all of these values, I found now that the value is 0.2873, and then for the 99% confidence interval is actually the rejection area is around 2.325. Therefore, I can safely say that it is not under rejection area. And that is the end of my presentation for QA. Thank you.